This dude is the man.
People across Africa and the diaspora are talking about one man. Captain Ibrahim Traoré leads the West African nation of Burkina Faso.
We African heads of state must stop behaving like puppets who dance every time the imperialists pull the strings.
Why does his message and his persona resonate so strongly?
I think people are, in essence, they're looking for saviors.
It's easier for them to hear that someone is doing great against imperialism and the Western world and France.
And also, why is there so much misinformation accompanying his fandom? Traoré came to power in a 2022 military coup. Two neighboring countries, Mali and Niger, have also had military takeovers and together formed their own regional club. But only one of their leaders has become an icon. He's young and he looks the part, like a revolutionary. Traoré echoes Thomas Sankara, the Pan-Africanist and reformist president of Burkina Faso, who was assassinated in 1987. Sankara's supporters accuse France, the former colonial power, of being behind his killing for his Marxist revolutionary stance. Ibrahim Traoré preaches a similar message of anti-imperialism and economic sovereignty, and that's music to many people's ears across Africa and beyond. Among Traoré's popular moves, kicking out French troops and attempting to rewrite mining contracts to bring in more revenue for Burkina Faso. There's also his focus on agriculture, the country's biggest employer. He's provided farmers with free access to farming equipment, but overall, the country's reality is more complex than many would suggest. The narrative around Traoré is riddled with misinformation, and most of the claims about his unprecedented achievements are often one-liners, unverified, or outright false, but heavy on emotion. Then there's been the flood of AI videos, some manipulating existing videos of Traoré, others made up altogether. In fact, some of the propaganda has been found to be part of a wider disinformation campaign. Journalist Justin Yaga has reported on a Russian-backed propaganda operation that often targeted France's role in Burkina Faso. This intensified around the time Russia began its invasion of Ukraine in 2022.
I remember some people reacting to our investigation saying, we don't care even if there is a propaganda campaign, or the only thing we care is that there are riots about France.
Burkina Faso has since pivoted away from France to Russia, offering gold in return for military support and, as it appears, a propaganda machine, one the Russians knew would appeal to Africans.
The investigation we did was like discovering, the ground. I think a lot of other initiative, propaganda campaign are now built on these grounds.
While social media celebrates Traoré, it's a different story in his country, which has become more dangerous with a worsening crisis of ethnic and jihadist violence. In fact, it was on this very issue that Traoré came to power. He criticized his predecessors for failing to stop the insecurity, but conditions have actually deteriorated under his rule. Burkina Faso is the country worst affected by terrorism, according to this year's Global Terrorism Index. And experts estimate about half of its territory is outside of government control. Human rights groups have also accused the army of carrying out atrocities against civilians. Yet such news only provokes Traoré's supporters and sparks their claims that this is all a witch hunt.
If you pay attention when all this initiative comes out, when they start communicating on something that Traoré have done, and it's more connected to some failures. So for me, I think it's a way to hide what's happening really on the ground. It's also telling people what they want to hear. I think it's easier for them to hear that someone is doing great against imperialism and the Western world and France. There is no one who would say, I miss this time or the colonial time. People want things to change, so that's sure.
What the outside world might not know is Traore's regime is clamping down on independent local voices from political parties, civil society, and the media. We've reached out to several journalists and analysts in Burkina Faso for this story, but they all expressed fear of repercussions from the regime if they spoke to us. Reporters Without Borders notes a rapid deterioration of the media environment since the military took over. It says news favorable to Traore has taken precedence over rigorous journalism, and adds that the deteriorating security situation has led journalists to face increasing pressure and abuses, fostering self-censorship within the profession. Those who question the government are punished. Among them, these journalists were forcibly recruited into the security forces and sent to the front line to fight jihadists. But Traore is not pretending to offer the freedoms that democracy provides. In fact, quite the opposite. He's gone back on his promise to usher in elections to restore a civilian government, declaring he'll remain in power as military leader for another 5 years.
We've got to say it loud and clear. We're not in a democracy. We're in a popular progressive revolution. If anyone can name a single country that's developed in a democracy, it's not possible. Democracy is only the end result.
But Africa has traveled this road before. For decades after independence, military strongmen made similar promises of revolution and then hung on to power at the expense of their countries and their people. A history that might not be vivid in the eyes of today's generation.
I think people are, in essence, they're looking for saviors. And this is kind of part of my discomfort with this polarization of people like Ibrahim Traore. People have to be careful about propping up these figures as panaceas to what are essentially systemic problems.
Many Africans are dissatisfied with what their current democratic systems are delivering as they witness corruption, poor governance, and even repression.
And let's not ignore the grievances that exist, but it's really how we frame them and how we talk about how they're going to be resolved. So it's not just let's get good leaders, it's let's actually get systems that can both contain the people who control power, make them genuinely accountable to the people within within the continent.
But criticism of Ibrahim Traore currently doesn't appear to faze his supporters. To them, he represents an ideal. This movement is what emerges when a generation stops believing in the systems designed to serve them and chases after a symbol of hope, regardless of the risks attached.